"Don't get in that car." The words thundered across the parking lot, freezing everyone in their tracks. For a split second, silence swallowed the night air. No one expected the voice to come from him, a black security guard in a navy blue uniform, a man most people never looked twice at. But what happened next would shake one of the wealthiest companies in the nation to its core. Inside that sleek black SUV waited more than leather seats and tinted windows. There was a trap, deadly, precise, and meant to end the lives of two billionaire brothers in an instant. And yet, because one man chose to speak up, everything changed. What the billionaires did after that moment didn't just shock the people who worked for them. It shocked the entire company. Stay with me to the very end of this story, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us. Sometimes the loudest warning comes from the quietest voices. Malik Johnson adjusted his cap as he stood at his post, the cool breeze of autumn sweeping through the emptying lot. He was 45, tall, broad-shouldered, with streaks of gray threading his once black hair. For 10 years, he'd worked the same shift, watching thousands of employees walk past him daily, some offering polite smiles, most too busy to even notice his presence. But Malik wasn't bitter. He had 3 children waiting for him at home, and every paycheck meant school supplies, meals on the table, and rent paid on time. Even shadows can be guardians, he often told himself. Behind his calm demeanor, Malik carried the discipline of a veteran. Years ago, he'd served in the army, trained to read environments, to pick out what didn't belong. It was a skill that never left him. The Stratton brothers were legends in the city. Charles Stratton, the elder at 52, was a man of numbers and steel. He wore tailored suits that cost more than Malik made in a year, his silver hair slicked back, his sharp jaw always locked tight. Employees whispered that he measured loyalty in profits, not in people. David Stratton, at 48, was the opposite. He had a softer face, warmer eyes, and though equally rich, he preferred laughing with employees and shaking hands in the cafeteria rather than hiding in a penthouse office. Together, they ran Stratton Global, a tech empire with products in every home. Yet behind their billions, the brothers were divided. Boardroom battles often spilled into the press. Rumors of betrayal, power struggles, and secret deals swirled around them. That Friday night, both brothers walked side by side to their waiting SUV. To Malik, the sight was unusual. Rarely did Charles and David leave the building together. Something about it already felt off. The parking lot stretched wide and dim under flickering streetlights. Leaves skittered across the pavement, carried by the restless wind. Malik sipped the last of his lukewarm coffee, scanning the vehicles. That's when he noticed the driver. The man sat too stiffly, his grip on the steering wheel too tight. His cap, part of the chauffeur's uniform, was slightly tilted, like it didn't belong to him. His eyes flicked toward the brothers, then away too quickly. Years in the military had trained Malik to see danger where others saw nothing. And right now, every alarm in his gut screamed that something wasn't right. As Charles and David neared the SUV, Malik's heart hammered. He didn't have proof. If he was wrong, he could lose his job, maybe even face humiliation. But if he was right... He stepped forward, his voice booming across the lot. "Don't get in the car." The sound cut through the air like a gunshot. Employees froze mid-step. Charles stopped in his tracks, his eyes narrowing with fury. "Who the hell do you think you are?" he barked. David hesitated, eyes shifting to Malik. The security guard's stance wasn't one of panic, it was command. Malik rushed forward, his flashlight clenched in his hand. He yanked open the SUV door. Inside the vehicle, beneath the leather seats, wires glinted. A compact device, layered with plastic explosives, sat hidden where no casual glance would catch it. Gasps erupted from the employees standing nearby. Charles staggered back, his face draining of color. "My God!" he whispered. The driver's eyes widened. Then, without warning, he bolted from the SUV. "Stop him!" Malik roared. With lightning reflexes, Malik lunged, tackling the man to the ground before he reached the exit. The struggle was brief but fierce, the driver clawing desperately before being subdued. Sirens wailed as emergency alarms were triggered. Guards swarmed the lot. In minutes, the truth was clear. Malik had just stopped an assassination attempt. By nightfall, the headquarters was crawling with police and bomb squads. The SUV was cordoned off, the device carefully dismantled. The imposter chauffeur was unmasked as an infiltrator with ties to a rival corporation, a man hired weeks earlier under falsified documents. Inside the boardroom, the brothers sat pale and shaken. Charles paced like a caged lion, muttering curses. David sat silently, his hands trembling. Malik, however, stood quietly in a corner, giving his statement to detectives. He wanted no glory, only the truth. For once, Charles Stratton found no words. The man he had barely acknowledged for a decade had just saved his life. David broke the silence first, rising to his feet and walking toward Malik. "You could have stayed quiet. You could have let us walk to that car. Why risk everything?" Malik's answer was simple. "Because life is worth more than money. And no man deserves to die if I can stop it." Charles swallowed hard, shame flickering in his eyes. For the first time, he looked at Malik not as a uniform, but as a man. The next morning, an emergency company-wide meeting filled the grand auditorium. Thousands of employees gathered, buzzing with rumors. When Charles and David walked onto the stage, all eyes followed. Between them stood Malik, still in his Navy uniform. Charles cleared his throat, his usual icy voice breaking with emotion. "Last night, we were minutes away from death. One man stopped it. A man we've ignored for years. A man who never asked for recognition. Malik Johnson saved not only our lives but the future of this company." David stepped forward. "From today, Malik will no longer stand at the gates unnoticed. He is now head of corporate security, with full authority to protect this company. And beyond that," the room held its breath, "we are making him a shareholder of Stratton Global. Loyalty like his deserves to be written into our legacy." The hall exploded in applause. Employees rose to their feet, cheering. Some wiped away tears. Malik stood frozen, overwhelmed. He had never imagined his name spoken in the same breath as Billionaires. That evening, Malik returned home to his modest apartment. His wife, Denise, opened the door with worry etched on her face. "Are you okay? I saw the news," she whispered. Malik nodded, embracing her. His 3 children rushed forward, their eyes wide. 4 years, they had seen their father leave quietly each night, uniform crisp, returning exhausted at dawn. Now, they looked at him differently, not just as their father, but as a hero. "Dad," his youngest whispered, "you saved the world, didn't you?" Malik smiled softly. "Not the world, son. Just 2 men. But sometimes that's enough." The Stratton brothers never forgot that night. Charles, once hardened and cold, began to change. Meetings grew less ruthless, more human. David often credited Malik as the bridge that reminded them of what truly mattered. And Malik, he carried on with humility. Though now wealthier and more respected, he still walked the halls with the same quiet dignity. He shook hands with employees, listened to their worries, and ensured safety wasn't just a protocol, but a promise. Because sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. They wear uniforms, stand in shadows, and raise their voices when it matters most. Malik Johnson's story proves something powerful. Greatness doesn't always come from boardrooms or billion-dollar deals. Sometimes, it comes from the courage of ordinary people who refuse to stay silent when danger looms. If Malik had ignored his instincts, 2 billionaires would be gone, a company would crumble, and countless lives would be shaken. But because he chose to act, he became a symbol of loyalty and bravery. Heroes walk among us. They are the bus drivers, the cleaners, the guards, the nurses, the ones society often overlooks. And sometimes, they are the very reason the powerful survive. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs reminding that even the quietest voice can change history. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the unnoticed are the ones who save the day.